Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I have a Oncidium Intergeneric here with me. That's my own costally scheduling work, and I need to address some issues that we have with this type of plants, some signs that they will give us. That means that this plant is stressed and then it needs to be repotted immediately. So if that's the type of content you are looking for today, hang here with me and let's start. I will post some pictures about this beautiful plant in here so you will know what it is, how the blooms look like. Just to let you know, I found it locally. I didn't spend much money. It was a very cheap plant, by the way. It was one of these big convenience stores that sells gardening tools and many other products. At the time, I found many Oncidiums Intergenerics in there, and usually Oncidiums, they do pretty well with me. But this one has been having some issues for a while, and it's sitting on this pot as well for more than 2 years. So organic material, it's ideal that we repot it or change it around each 2 years, because otherwise the mix starts to degrade, and then you can have a different pH from the ideal pH that the roots should be growing in. Then we have also many old roots, so the mix starts to become not ideal for epiphyte plants. This is an epiphyte orchid, which means that the roots will usually grow up in the air attached to trees and tree trunks, so it needs a lot of air circulation around the roots. Talking about all of this, let's explore some of the signs and then let's repot it together. So if you're enjoying the content until now, hit the like button and leave a comment down below. But what we have in here? So first thing what we have a flower spike. Would be amazing. Probably thinking, oh my gosh, shouldn't you wait for the plants to bloom? Yes. If you are a beginner and you notice that you have a flower spike and you can wait for the plants to bloom and then you repot it. The case here is my plant is really stressed. Why? Because it pushed out a flower spike. However, I'm having many bud blasts. The buds are dying before they are open. And this one is blasting as well. This one is looking very weird and floppy. So I think we'll blast as well. So the flowers will probably not open, or just a few of them. That's a sign that my plant is stressed, because bud blasting could be one sign that something is wrong with this plant. And I know this plant has never had bud blast before. Usually it blooms like twice a year and put out quite a beautiful show. It never happened before, so I know something is definitely wrong. I could just cut the flower spike and repot. In this case, it's better if you're a beginner to cut the flower spike and repot. But I will try to keep the flower spike on for now, because I haven't looked into the root system. But if I notice that it has barely any root, I will definitely get rid of the flower spike, because this plant will be able to push other flower spikes in the future. Other signs, the amount of bulbs that I have here at back bulbs that don't have any leaves would be okay to have 1 or 2 back bulbs. I have so many back bulbs now, they are completely dead. But not only that, they are mushy, they don't look alive or healthy. And all of the pseudobulbs, even the newer pseudobulbs, they are very dehydrated, so they shrinked. And it's okay to have some wrinkles on the pseudobulbs in some of these intergenerics, but if you notice that they are completely wrinkled and they are not plumping back when you water your orchid, that's another sign that something is wrong here. Which means that probably it doesn't have enough roots that are being able, or the roots are suffocated. Something is happening with the root system that's not basically hydrating our plant. That's definitely something that's happening here. So that's another sign that something is weird and I need to check what it is. Another thing is the size of the pseudobulbs. In the case of simple orchids that we have a stem, and this stem will push out new growths, usually these new growths, they will tend to be a little bit taller or the same size of the previous growths, but they shouldn't be smaller than previous growths, especially if you have a mature plant and a healthy plant. If you notice that you're gonna have smaller growths, that's another sign that something is weird with your plant. is not as healthy as it was before, so it's not pushing the same size and strength that it had before. It's basically not having the same energy to push out growths that will be as big, as tall, as plumpy as the other growths. It's also something that's happening here. So that's one more sign that tells me something is wrong with this plant that I have to see. And another sign that I don't see specifically with this one, because that's a massive plant and has huge pseudobulbs that although they are wrinkly, I think they still have some energy in there. But you can notice with some intergeneric sometimes that the leaves will become floppy and a little bit limpy. That happens is because the plant is extremely dehydrated, but usually the first signs that we will notice are on the pseudobulb. Something else is I had lots of pests, so we have to keep looking for sign of pests as well. If you notice that you have chloroses, like you have less pigmentations on the leaves or lots of dots, strange dots, maybe you have some pests. So it's a good idea to repot as well and clean very well your plant with some sort of pesticide of your choice. Notice if you don't have pests as well munching on the buds of your plant, because when you have bud blasting, something that could have been happening is that I have some pests in here that are attacking the bud, but because the overall look of the plant is not good, so I think it's more to do with the root system than with any pests on top of it. This plant got attacked by thrips, so it definitely has signs of thrips here on the leaves before. I think I have an infestation of spider mite at the moment that I have to take care of, so I need to strip aside my whole collection here. I didn't have time to do it yet, but if you have time, do it as soon as you spot something, because then you have better chance to get rid of and having your plants clean. Anyway, when I look at the root system, because I have a clear pot, so in this case I can see what it is inside. Another thing that I notice here is I do have some mold. It's not a good sign, because maybe I have some dead material, organic material inside. It's not a huge infestation of mold, but I do have some mold that I want to clean. I don't want this to be the case of my roots. I don't want my roots to have infestation of mold. Another thing is I can see that I have lots of roots inside, but some of the roots, they are very brownish. And when you see brown roots, it might be a sign that these roots are dead, so they are not alive anymore. But I think I have live roots as well. So I have both in here, which is good, which is perfect. I have a new growth here, which is also a good sign, because now that I'm going to repot and I'm going to remove a lot of mushy bulbs, I will have a new pseudobulb soon. This can save this plant, because it's going to be where this plant will probably store most of its energy. And luckily, if it is healthy in the future, I'm going to have more pseudobulbs and this plant will recover and will put out a beautiful flower show next year. For now, let's repot it, show you what's happening inside the pot. So let's start. I'm late in here, so I have my tea. Let me take this out of the way. So I have my pair of pruners here that I have sterilized already, and I will just remove this plant from its pot. So I will squeeze a little bit here and there. Try to get the roots to detach from the pot, and let's pull it gently. Let's see if we can. Whoops! Yeah, there we go. I have definitely some live roots in here. It's an amazing sign. I'm gonna do a big mess. Repotting is about doing a big mess, right? What I'm gonna do is, I love repotting Oncidiums, because usually you have lots of roots to work with, which is not exactly the most pleasant job, but we have to get it done, right? So I will be gentle here, and I will remove all of this sphagnum moss. As you can see, I have lots of moss here with a little bit of bark. So I will remove everything. The bark is tiny, so it's going to be very easy to detach from the root system. Usually smaller bits of bark like this, they are easier to remove than larger pieces. And but it's all very old, the bark. You can see touching it starts to degrade, so it's time to definitely repot this plant. And let's have a look at the root system together. Okay, dokie. So be ready because this is going to be probably a very long video. Let's see what we have inside this plant. A good idea is to always go to the back bulbs and start removing everything from the back, because I know that I've said that many times. Usually experienced growers know that as well, but usually the dead roots are going to be here, as you can see. I hope you probably can see. This is all mushy and very like dark in color, because the back part is the oldest part, you know, of this orchid. Like this is dead, so everything that is coming from here is going to be dead as well. But we do have live roots, so we need to be gentle here. Let's see what happens. The good thing about these Oncidium intergenerics is that they are massive root producers. As you can see, look at the size of this root system. I will need to cut part of the stem here because I know that I have a dead stem here. Another thing is these roots, they are very thin. It's different from Phalaenopsis roots. They produce ton of roots, but they are thinner. The roots are much thinner than Phalaenopsis roots. This means that they break down easily. And there is another issue here, is that if I try to remove these old bulbs, my plant will have to be split in two pieces, and I don't want to do that, because then I won't have a huge amount of pseudobulbs together, so it's going to have less energy. And I really love this plant, and it has survived so much. It has survived the thrips infestation. My first adventure is with orchids. It's not my oldest Oncidium. I think my oldest Oncidium intergeneric, if I'm not mistaken, it may be my Brassica. My Brassica hybrid, I am not sure, but this one is one of the oldest, one of these times that I found lots of them locally. It's very easy to find these Oncidium intergenerics around, at least she used to be. I haven't been looking for them. I haven't been to garden centers apart from the nursery that I went in Brazil. Since I came back, I haven't visited any place yet, but I need some time and money to invest in other stuff. So sorry about all the blab. I should be focused only on the roots, but I don't have money at this moment. What I really need to spend time on is cleaning up my collection from pests again. I think I have infestation of spider mites, so as I said in the beginning, I have to take a time off from my work, just 2 days off, just to clean everything, spray everything, making sure everything is well. All of my orchids are well, and I have to repot a ton of them at the moment, so I'm focused on this at the moment. But who knows, if I find something very interesting locally, I will let you guys know. But I'm not actively looking. Everything here is dead. Everything on the back here is completely dead, gone. And the root system, to be honest, is not well. I thought it would be better than what it is, actually. This is dead. I know, quite scary what I'm doing, but I need to cut this down because I need to remove some of this. Some of orchids very easy. You just pull and they will come straight out of the plant. Not the case of this one. Although it's mushy and all that, it's exactly in the middle here. I have one division here, and but the middle is dead, so I need to, all of this is completely gone. So I just had to pull it because this is very mushy. It's strange, very strange. Don't like the look of it, so it's gone now. And it was very woody here, so there was no connection between those pseudobulbs and these ones. What I will do here is, don't know if I should keep this one or not, just for the reason that then I have 3 pseudobulbs. So I think I'm gonna keep this one, just to make sure this section of my plant, it has more reserve in terms of energy to bounce back. but everything here is dead. There is no single thing on this portion that's alive. That's why my plant is very, very dehydrated, because I don't have many roots. So this portion is dry. I can take it away. And now let's see what else we have in here. I'm a bit disappointed that I had to divide the plant, but the other, they were not connected anymore because one section was not connected to the other one. And a lot of roots here are dead, so everything that comes from this with a bulb has to go away. And I'll keep doing that. I'm gonna come to the second part soon. And you have to do here the same thing that you do with Phalaenopsis and other orchids. Just check to see if the roots are mushy. If you touch them and you notice that development is coming out, like here, the outer layer of the orchid is coming out very easily, it's because the root is dead. So I will keep cutting them. And I will leave only the live roots on both parts of my orchid. I'll show you when I'm done. So unfortunately, all of the roots are gone, mainly all of the roots. I saved this tiny portion from the one of the new growth, and none of the roots from the new growth were growing inside the potting mix. They are very, very tiny, and they didn't even try to go into the potting mix, and the tip is like burned, so definitely the mix wasn't good anymore for this orchid. I think something was going on, maybe with the watering, the quality of the mix altogether. The roots were all dead, which is another sign that probably the roots were a little bit suffocated inside that mix. So it's a mix of different things. We have a massive root problem, as you can see. We did have pests as well attacking the plant, so altogether made my plant very, very weak. So now I have two divisions, both of them has 3 growths. So fingers crossed they will be able to pull through and make this plant grow well inside the new potting mix. Now I'm gonna grab my tools. I need to basically repot it properly, add it into the new potting mix, and also I will use some leaf shine just to clean out all of these leaves before I pot it up, because I want to make sure that I have less pests as possible. So this is my plant. The table is finally clean. But just because I forgot to talk to you about. And the flower spike, what is going to happen to it? I have to cut it because my plant doesn't have roots to sustain itself. So how will be able to bloom, and give energy to flowers if it doesn't even have a structure to keep itself alive and well? So for this obvious reason, I will cut the flower spike. Unfortunately, I really love this plant, but it's time for this to go. But hopefully, fingers crossed, this one will bounce back. I clean already the leaves. Everything's looking fresh and green. Just rootless, unfortunately. Fingers crossed. Let's pot this up. Here I have a pot. This one is smaller than the other one. Because it doesn't have roots, I don't need a big pot at this moment. So this one is a 12 centimeters? I'm not sure. Something around that. I drew holes on this one a long time ago. It's going to be perfect for this plant because this one is an epiphyte. So if you have no experience, if you are dealing with epiphyte orchids, especially these common ones from supermarkets like Phalaenopsis and Oncidium, always good to have a pot with holes, so ventilation holes, so the roots will have more air circulating around, and which is great. They love it. If they have the right humidity and air together, they are able to grow healthily. Here was my fault. I kept it in this pot for a very, very long time, and the roots got suffocated. It could happen. But let's try to save this beauty, shall we? So I will pot them together, both divisions, and I will do as I do with all my repotting. So I just add a little bit of moss at the bottom, and then I will add bark. But because this is an Oncidium, the pot's not a big pot. Oncidiums, they love their humidity. That's why they grow so many thin roots, and these roots, they enjoy having their space to grow, but also enjoy drinking lots of water. For this reason, I don't want this pot to dry out very, very fast. I will add a little bit more more moss than I add with my other repottings, like when I'm repotting Phalaenopsis and Cattleyas. I usually don't add so much moss, but in this case I will do because I know this plant will enjoy. So you have to balance it out according to the plants that you have. This is a massive Oncidium, so this one is not a space saver at all. If you find it locally, the only disadvantage that this plant has, in my opinion, is the size. The flowers are gorgeous, it puts a beautiful display, it blooms very often, tends to be a strong and resilient plant. However, be mindful of the space. I need to add some slow release fertilizer here as well, so hopefully it will stay in place. No, it will not. Let me grab two things, 1 second. So here is the slow release fertilizer. I will add, Daisy, 1, 2, 3, 5. Well, now it's okay. It's just to keep this plant healthy and growing inside this pot. When the roots are able to absorb this fertilizer, that's not going to be anytime soon, since I have no roots inside this pot in it. Scares me a little bit because I really love this plant, but hopefully it will bounce back. And maybe I will be able to show it an updated video about this one. We'll have a few Oncidiums that I need to repot. Some of them, the pot's very small for the size of the plant. They have outgrown their pots. Others, the potting mix is so old, like this one, and I've been lazy. So not only I have to spray pesticides, but also I need to repot many orchids. The weather here is not that cold anymore. It's great, but it's also sad because it's unlikely what is expected for this time of the year. Anyway, so the last layer is bark. Keep adding bark until I see that everything is inside my pot. I have here my tag. I will place it inside. I will just clean this table since I just added the tag and everything, and I will come back to show you my newly repotted Oncidium. So here I am with my newly repotted plant. What I will do now is I will add some water to this pot because my moss and bark were both completely dry, and although I don't have any roots yet, it's better to keep some humidity here, so it will help my plants to have a proper environment to push out roots. I don't need to water it a lot. I basically have to keep an eye on this pot, wait for this plant to start pushing out roots, see when the potting mix will become dry, and then water it again. Avoid leaving it without water for a long time, especially now that the root system doesn't have any roots. I have to wait for it to bounce back. But when the new roots start to grow, I have to be very careful with them, and hopefully it will just make this pot very small for this plant in a very short period of time, and then I will have a completely healthy plant sometime soon. So generally, after repotting, you do the same thing that we do with other orchids. Just add it in my shelving under some growing light. Avoid to stress this plant, especially because this one is already very stressed. It has no root at all. So as I said, don't forget to water it when it's dry. Don't soak it for a long time. It doesn't have any root. And offer enough bright light. Avoid exposing it to direct sunlight, like especially midday sunlight or very bright light that will burn its leaves. doesn't need it this time, although these intergenerics enjoy their bright light, but you can keep it, enough bright light that it won't hurt the plant. Also, don't place this in a dark space. That's pretty obvious. They need to photosynthesize. And avoid pests if you can. Don't place it near plants that are completely infested. If you have an infestation, keep it isolated. It will help this plant to bounce back because it is very stressed. It will be normal to have smaller pseudobulbs for now with the newer growths since it has no roots. But then probably the following pseudobulbs will start to grow up and to become larger in size. And this plant, it's normally a very large Oncidium, so hopefully in 1 year at a time, it won't fit on this pot anymore. And I need to place it in a larger pot, and I have a beautiful bloom show. Fingers crossed. But that was everything that I wanted to show you today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel, stay tuned for more orchid content. I will create a poll that you probably already have voted, I think, this week before I posted this video about the next content, what do you want to watch next on this channel, because I have a few ideas, but it's good to know what you're looking for. So I hope you have voted on that poll as well, and the next video is going to be about whatever you've chosen. More than that, I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.